Rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening and welcome to our February 27th Board of Education meeting. For tonight, I'd like to get approval of the agenda. May I get a motion, please? First, Katie. Second, Henry. Any discussion or questions? All in favor? 6-0. Next up, Superintendent's Report. Mr. Poole.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to turn the first part of my report over, as usual, to our ex officio student trustees.
Hi, I'm Maya Beiersdorfer. So we have some college and career updates as for how the process is going for us, and I think that applies to a lot of other students going through the same process right now. So far, I've heard back from a lot of my colleges. Most of the public universities have gotten back, but a lot of students are waiting for private universities. That'll come out towards the end of March. Although it's a very stressful process, every question I've come to Mr. Rosado with, he's been able to help me. He's willing to spend as much time and effort necessary to answer any and all questions I had and am still having. I applied for engineering, and all of the engineering programs that I applied to mainly focus on hands-on learning and lots of networking so I can intern and jump right into the work field. A little high school update. The wrestling state championship took place in Albany this past weekend, where Christopher Colon placed 7th in his weight class and Gavin Mangano took 1st. The National Honor Society is starting to prepare for our junior-senior basket bonanza, which will be happening March 9th. And Wise Club has our first meeting for the spring semester tomorrow, and we've been selected to create a showcase for the school for March in honor of Women's History Month.
All right. I'd just like to again congratulate Chris and Gavin. So I'm going to give my update for how college admissions are going for me. So to parents of undergraduate students who haven't yet applied to college, it kind of just takes time. Depending on when you apply or what program you're applying into, or even what type of school, like Maya said, she applied to mostly public schools. It'll take a lot of time to hear back. I applied way back in December. I still have only heard from 3 schools out of the 18 I applied for. But that's because I mainly applied for private research institutions. So it takes time. Just be patient. Let's see. Oh, I saw on Parent Square that our school is highlighting a summer program for students to partake in, and I like to just also highlight that up here. Peconic Bay Medical Center over in Riverhead. It's by the KFC. It's I haven't actually done that specific program myself. However, I volunteer there just as a different thing with their hospital, and I really think it's an amazing opportunity and environment for students who are either interested in medical and biology or just helping out a community in need to volunteer and spend their time there. I think it's a really great community, and all the staff and nurses there are really friendly and excellent. I think the person running it is Kristen, and she's wonderful. So if any of your kids are interested, please take a look. It's on Parent Square. There's a lot of good stuff on there, lots of scholarships and stuff. All right, I'd like to give a few more updates just surrounding the events at our high school. Congratulations to the cast of Blythe Spirit. I got the chance to see them on opening night, and it was really, really good. It's truly incredible, and I wish them all good luck in their future careers, whatever it may be. Congratulations to sophomore April Hark and junior Teddy Hark, who both obtained the rank of Eagle Scout, which only 6% of scouts ever get to, which is really nice. Spirit Night for Lax Out Cancer will be held on Thursday, February 29th, in the high school gym. Come watch your teachers and staff compete for the Cat Cup at the Battle of the Buildings. Doors open at 5 p.m. and tickets are $5 per person. I have friends over in Longwood that have actually heard about this somehow, and a lot of them are coming too, so it should be a really fun experience. 2 more things. I'd like to congratulate our high school science researchers for competing at the Long Island Science and Engineering Fair. I believe all of us did projects over at the Brookhaven National Laboratory, and while rubbing shoulders with some of the smartest people in the world, we completed real projects, and which all required stages of proposing and researching beforehand. So I'd like to congratulate all my friends who did that. I think Derek, sitting right there, competed. Truly incredible. It's honestly amazing how much real science we get to do through this program at our high school. And finally, Triumph is gearing up for our yearly recital that's going to be happening in the gym on March 15th. We have a food drive, so if you'd like to come and donate some non-perishables, we'd greatly appreciate that. And just come and have a good time. Listen to our young performers play some of their favorite pieces and songs. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. That was great. I appreciate that. So just a few other notes from around the district. Over at the middle school, earlier in February, on February 9th, middle school students attended a production of Finding North at the West Hampton Beach Performing Arts Center. Finding North is a one-man show about the Underground Railroad told through historical narratives. And the National Junior Honor Society at the middle school is currently reviewing all applications, and new inductees will be notified next month. Over at Wading River is rolling into the science fair next week and launching their rollerblading unit in physical education and having a special science-themed arts and education presentation this Thursday for all students. Student Council created a unique way to celebrate science and our 50th anniversary by combining the building-wide cereal bowl food drive and learning about energy transfer in grade 4 with a domino-like demonstration of the cereal boxes in the shape of a huge 50. Nice. Good stuff. Miller Avenue celebrated the 100th day of school on February 14th. Hard to believe we're approaching March towards the end of the school year already. There was a first grade fashion show and Dress Like You're 100 Years Old in kindergarten, and our first grade choral students performed and presented their winter show on February 14th and 15th. Under the direction of music teacher Cara Verity, they presented Lemonade, a musical for their parents and friends. I have to say, I just couldn't believe what the first graders were able to do, harmonize, memorize, and pull off a 25-minute production. That was just fantastic.
Very impressive.
So
Very
kudos
impressive.
to Miller Avenue, Miss Verity, for that. Very excited. In a few minutes, we'll kick off our 50th anniversary celebration. After that, we have a legislative committee update. We have a budget presentation, the first of the budget workshops for the school year. And then finally, hot off the press for the high school, this did not get to the high school report. I did hear today that we had two Shoreham-Wading River students, Emily Sherrill and Isabel Sherrill, were Poetry Out Loud finalists. They made it into the top 5 of the semifinals last night at Stony Brook University. Isabel Sherrill won, and she's headed towards the state finals at FIT for the Poetry Out Loud competition in Manhattan on March 9th. So we'll definitely have to have Emily and Isabel back to congratulate them, and good luck to Isabel as she competes at FIT coming up. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Poole. Great report, and thank you, students. Appreciate the updates. Alex, Dunkai, excuse me, and Maya. Thank you. Next up, we've got our student and staff recognitions. Mr. Mark Passamonte with Mr. Joe Condon will present our New York State Wrestling Championship.
Thank you, Mr. Sheridan, Board of Education. It's my honor tonight to recognize and thank you both for Maya and for recognizing Gavin and Chris. But I'd like to introduce tonight and recognize our state champion wrestler from Saturday, Gavin Mangano. I'm not going to say too much. I want Coach Condon to be able to introduce Gavin and give the ins and outs. But it's just great to have another state champion here, and we'd like to congratulate Gavin.
Before I introduce Gavin and all his things, he's an incredibly talented and very special wrestler. We don't see many of them. New York's a highly competitive wrestling state. In wrestling, you have to earn what you get. A coach, I can't vote for him or pick him or award him this award. He has to go out there and do it himself. And he did that last 3 days ago, in front of 12,000 people. For a ninth grader to perform at a level that's rarely done, it's a rare feat. In fact, most college coaches realize they're not allowed to speak to him yet because he's too young. They couldn't believe he was a freshman. But he's been at it a long time. He's relentless. He trains year-round. He won the equivalent of the national title in middle school. And then in 8th grade, as an 8th grader, he lost a heartbreaking 8-7 finals match to a junior, a 3-time state champ. And I think he was on a mission the whole offseason. He's got a great supporting coaching staff. All the coaches I work with are fantastic. His teammates, including Chris Colon, who they mentioned, his family's behind him all the time. He's really focused. He was 51-1 this year and beat all the state champions from Division I, all the large schools. You know, he's beaten everybody.
Awesome.
And his career record is 117-3, and he's only a freshman. And sky's the limit. And he's already focused on some new goals. I mean, he's going to take a break for a few days, obviously. But we're really proud of him. His focus and his drive is, you know, he's up there in the rarefied air of a few select people. And if he continues this, I mean, when I got home from Albany yesterday, I was just going to unpack my bags and sit down and see my kids. And I believe there was over 800 congratulatory emails from alumni, other coaches all over the state. And they were just in awe of how he could go out and dominate a weight class, mostly filled with seniors and 18-year-olds when he's a freshman. And, you know, he doesn't say a lot. He doesn't talk a lot. His actions speak for himself. He's really entertaining to watch. The fans really loved it. And it's just a real pleasure to work with him. He's a rare talent, like I said, and I give him a lot of credit because to have that composure in front of huge crowds at a big event on TV with all those people, he just did everything. He was on a mission. He stayed with his plan, and he did everything he could to be successful. And that's Gavin Mangano, state champion this year, New York State champion. I also wanted to thank everybody up here, the Board of Education, Mr. Poole, Mr. Pasamonte. We have a lot of support here in the district for all the programs we do from K all the way up to their senior year. And without that, it'd be tough to do all the things we do.
Gavin, congratulations. Board of Education Pin of Excellence. Great job.
Congratulations, Gavin.
Stay up there, right?
Yeah, I was just going to ask you that. So tonight we have a very exciting presentation. Mr. Poole is going to kick off our 50th anniversary time capsule celebration. So Mr. Poole.
Good evening, everyone. I'm so glad everybody was able to come out tonight. This is very exciting. It's been a lot of fun this year to celebrate the rich history of Shoreham-Wading River for our 50th anniversary. I want to give a special welcome to Mr. Kevin Mann, who I think is here tonight, one of the original teachers of the school district at the very beginning of the creation of Shoreham-Wading River, who at the beginning of the school year, along with Mr. Ross Burkhart and Ms. Lila Stratman, were inaugural inductees into our Shoreham-Wading River Staff Hall of Fame. So I'd like to give the three of them a round of applause. Mr. Mann standing in the back there. Thank you for coming, Mr. Mann. I would also like to thank our student business operators who came in this evening to open the school store for the beginning of our meeting tonight. They are amazing, amazing students. Peter Christ, Haley Petruzzi, Andrew Brenna, Michaela Nobre, and Maddie Cummings. So congratulations to them who are running a business in the middle of the high school. So tonight marks a really special occasion as we will be dedicating a time capsule for the children and families of 2073. So I probably won't be here. I'd be probably 107 or something like that. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be here for that. But the time capsule will be ready for 2073. It's going to be stored right here in the high school library and not to be opened for another 50 years. So in 1973, when the school district was formed, The best-selling book was Jonathan Living Seagull by Richard Bach. That was required reading for myself in high school. But it's kind of fitting. It's a story about perseverance, self-awareness, self-belief, and unlocking your potential, which I think over the last 50 years, this district has strived to do for students. Most popular TV show was All in the Family. The first handheld mobile phone was invented. A stamp cost just 8 cents. The largest corporation was General Motors, and the Knicks were world champions. So we know that was a long time ago. To take us back to 1973, we have a really special musical performance of the #1 song from that year, which was "Tie a Yellow Ribbon" by Tony Orlando. Our high school students are here. Mr. O'Brien are here tonight. I'd like to welcome Mr. O'Brien, sophomore Logan Young on guitar, senior Cassandra Keeney on vocals, junior Liam McQuaid on saxophone, and sophomore Aubrey Russo on drums. I'd like to turn it over to Mr. O'Brien for a few remarks. Thank you. Let's give him a round of applause.
Thank you, Mr. Poole. Thank you for inviting us to have some music for your meeting tonight. Before they perform, I just want to thank the Board of Education, Mr. Poole, Mr. Pugliese. I had proposed a modern band for next year, which did get approved, and this is a quick sample of what that band is all about. It's a mixture of different disciplines, students who are from our music program, some students who are not in our music program, and they're going to play the #1 hit from 1973. A little bit about that song. It was written based on a story told to the composer of the song, Russell Brown, about a soldier coming back from the Civil War, telling his significant other to tie a handkerchief on a specific tree to signify if he were welcome home after the war. Russell Brown, the writer of the song, didn't find that to be too romantic, so he changed handkerchief to yellow ribbon, and Tie a Yellow Ribbon is what the song was titled. Orlando Bloom is who performed it, and this was not just #1 in the United States, it was #1 in the UK, and it was in the top 10 in 10 different countries in 1973. And coincidentally, Billboard magazine, on their 50th anniversary, came up with the top 100 songs all time and listed this as #37. Okay, so I give you Cassandra, Logan, Aubrey, Liam, Tie a Yellow Ribbon.
Coming home, I've done my time. Now I've got to know what is and isn't mine. If you receive my letter telling you I'd soon be free, then you'll know what to do. If you still want me, if you still want me, oh, tie a yellow ribbon around the old tree. It's been 3 long years. Do you still want me? If I don't see a ribbon around the old oak tree, I'll stay on the bus, forget about us, put the blame on me. If I don't see a yellow Now the whole damn bus is cheering, and I can't believe I see 100 yellow ribbons round the old tree. I'm coming home. Tie a ribbon round the old oak tree. Tie a ribbon round the old oak tree.
Wow, that was fantastic. What a way to kick off the dedication ceremony. Thank you so much. Let's give them another round of applause. Wow. Now, for the next part of our ceremony, I'd like to invite up Mr. Tom Sheridan, who's going to kick things off with a letter to 2073. This meaningful letter to the future will be placed in a time capsule for the students and families of 2073 to discover. Thank you, Mr. Sheridan.
Thank you, Mr. Poole. Appreciate that. Imagine 2073 students. Here we go. So, future letter to the class of 2073 students. Dear future students and families, congratulations. You're opening the time capsule to celebrate the Shoreham-Wading River Central School District's 100th anniversary. What an exciting time for students and families of our community that the SWR School District has achieved this incredible 100th anniversary milestone in 2073. My name is Thomas Sheridan. I'm writing to you as the current 2023-2024 Shoreham-Wading River Central School District Board of Education President, where we currently are celebrating our 50th anniversary year. I'm honored to represent our families, our SWR community, as the father of two daughters who graduated from our SWR schools. Back here in 2020, we went through a global pandemic. This affected all of us, especially students in school. I'm proud to let you know that our school district returned students to school in person during the fall of 2020, when most schools in the country were unable to return to classrooms because of strict guidelines. This bold move was led by Mr. Poole, our superintendent of schools. He enabled our students to return to school. We were able to achieve this by opening a previously closed elementary school. This gave our students the ability to perform at high levels and achieve greater success. In another bold move, we're getting ready to adopt our first artificial intelligence position statement that I'm looking forward to seeing where this technology will lead in the future. Shoreham-Wading River's points of pride are our high standards, our excellence, our award-winning, honors-achieving School of Distinction, an outstanding achievement recipient, providing our students with enrichment opportunities in academics, athletics, and arts and music. Our hope is that you've had the opportunity to experience all that you were able to, where you can pursue your interests, talents, and passions, a place where you could grow, thrive, and contribute to our community and our society. Next, we want to offer you some encouragement for you all. I mean, you have a bright future ahead, full of possibilities and opportunities. You have the potential to achieve anything you set your mind to and to make a positive difference in the world. It's my hope that on your academic journey, you've had the opportunity to be surrounded by great teachers, staff, and administrators who have allowed you to grow as learners, as thinkers, and well-rounded human beings. Finally, you're inheritors of our legacy that we leave behind. You're the creators of the future we envision. You are the hope of the SWR community we share and love. We don't know exactly what our schools will look like in 2073. We only hope that it's a better place and the education you receive was a wonderful experience. Our wish is that we were able to provide a good foundation for the future class of 2073 students, families, and our school district. We wish you all the best. Here's to the next 50 years. Sincerely, Thomas Sheridan, President, Board of Education, SWR School District. I did add a PS. In the words of one of our elementary school principals, Mr. Paranello, I leave you with this morning message: make it a great day. The choice is yours. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for those thoughtful words for the future for 2073. So we're going to unveil the time capsule a little bit later. The time capsule is going to contain 4 separate capsules, one for each school to be opened 50 years from now. Made sense to let each school in 2073 have their own capsule to open. The items inside were carefully selected by our students and staff as representation of life in 2023. Joining me now are the principals from each school, along with some of their students, who will share highlights of what is going into the time capsule for their building and the significance behind some of those items. I'd like to invite up first the Miller Avenue principal, Ms. Claudia Smith, along with students Hudson Meris, Tiago Costa Braga, Gianni Ciliato, and Chase Gawler.
Good evening. What an honor to be here today, celebrating 50 years of Shoreham-Wading River. My friend here, Hudson Maris, said to me, "How old will I be then?"
Oh.
57. Older than me. But unlike Mr. Poole, I will be here in 50 years. I may be over 100, but we will be here together. At least that's my plan. I'm truly honored to be here this evening to celebrate, and without further ado, I will turn it over to Ms. Hudson Maris, who will share one of the items that we have placed in the time capsule.
One item that we chose is a Squishmallow. A Squishmallow is a popular stuffed toy many Miller Avenue students have. Squishmallows are round and come in various colors, sizes, animals, and textures. We want future students to know a toy that we love.
Gianni.
Another item that Miller Avenue students chose is a bucket filler keychain. At Miller Avenue, being a bucket filler means being kind and making others feel good. We want the future generation of Shoreham-Wading River to know that we made kindness a top priority.
Chase.
Miller Avenue students voted to include pictures in the time capsule. So, we are including our 2022 and 2023 yearbook. It will be interesting for future students to see the styles of 2023 and events that were held at Miller Avenue.
Tiago.
Lastly, we are including a Miller Avenue t-shirt in the time capsule. Our t-shirt is filled with many colors because at Miller Avenue, we feel strongly about diversity and accepting others.
Thank you so much.
Very good.
Well, thank you, boys and girls, and thank you, Ms. Smith. I'm sure in 2073, they're going to be really excited to open up your time capsule. Could I now invite up Mr. Paranello, along with students Nora Anderson, Theo Hajuglu, Landon Roca, Finley Smith, Robert Schroe, and Claire Teppenhart.
Good.
Thank you. Okay. All right, although Mrs. Smith and all of her students will be here 50 years from now, not so sure about me, but my students and many of you will be here. So, but we're here in this moment, and it's so special that you created this opportunity to have a time capsule that is just kind of capturing all of us. It'll capture today, the moment, the things we've learned and grown from, and share it with our future, you know, whatever it is, our future together, our shared future. So, you ready for this, guys? Are you sure? All right, you excited? All right, we're going to share a little bit about what we put in our time capsule. And as you can see from our image, we took this very seriously. You can see we even dressed up. I think it was like 80s or 70s gears, one of those days where we got dressed up, you know, in theme days. All right, here we go, Claire. You ready?
We are honored to have the opportunity to create a time capsule that represents our school. The time capsule has a memory from every single student in the Wading River School. In 50 years, we hope to look back upon these memories and remember our childhood and the incredible experiences we had at Wading River.
Some of the items we placed into the time capsule include stories, poems, one of our favorite books, and a school spirit t-shirt.
It also contains predictions for 2074 favorite toys, a paper quilt, and a time capsule collage. We are looking forward to gathering here in 50 years to rediscover long-lost memories and friends while sparking new ones, all thanks to what we have learned here at Wading River. If you were wondering what a paper quilt is or what any of the other items are, just meet us here in 50 years and you will find out. Thank you.
Very nice.
It's good advice. So just meet us here, 50 years. Thank you, Nora. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Paranello. I know Wading River students in 2073 are going to have a lot of fun opening up that time capsule, so thank you. I'd like to now invite up middle school principal Mr. Kevin Van, along with students Julia Bapst, Ruby Lieber, Delaney Sefton, and Juliana Ugel.
Good evening. Tonight's events mark a significant milestone in the history of our community as we come together to celebrate the 50th anniversary of our wonderful school district. For 5 decades, our school district has served as a cornerstone of education, fostering growth, knowledge, and a sense of community among generations of students, teachers, and families. As we commemorate this golden anniversary, it's important to reflect on the countless success stories, the friendships formed, and the enduring impact our school district has had on shaping the future of so many individuals. To teachers, administrators, board members, staff, parents, and students who have played a role in the journey, we thank you for your dedication and commitment to creating a legacy of excellence in education that we know will continue to inspire students for generations to come. Here's to 50 years of excellence, and may the next 50 also be filled with more achievements, innovation, and success. It's my pleasure to introduce Ms. Caitlin O'Connell, one of our school counselors and the advisor for our Student Council Club, and of course some of the Student Council leaders who have helped select the items for our time capsule.
Thank you. Good evening, and thank you for allowing us to participate in this special event. The Prodell Middle School Time Capsule was developed by our Student Council with the input of all students and staff at the middle school. Tonight we have our executive board members of Student Council to share some insights about what significant items they chose to include in the time capsule. So I will turn it over to Julia.
Hi, I'm Julia. We created this time capsule on behalf of Prodell Middle School in hopes to capture this moment in time as a middle school student in 2023-2024 school year. Within our time capsule, we included various items that represent the lives and interests of middle school students. We created a binder with information about Prodell, such as the school map, bell schedule, lunch menu, and course offerings. One special part of the time capsule is student artwork. The artwork shows our school's hard work and creativity. We also included it to show current artwork that we are making. For example, 6th graders are making a drawing of our own Prodell Middle School. These can show an example of what our life is like right now. Artwork could show current events. In 50 years, we can compare to see how much we have evolved. Imagine the thrill of seeing our artwork in 50 years. In 2023, we can see our art. That's amazing.
Hi, I'm Ruby. One thing we put in the time capsule is our yearbook from 2022 to 2023 to show everything that we do in Prodell. We wanted to put this in our time capsule because every year we participate in so many activities. such as sports, music, concerts, and field trips. We also feel that the yearbook provides a visual for the community and shows the styles and fashions that were popular this year. We hope this will help the future students of Prodell reflect on how things have changed in 50 years.
Another thing we put together in our time capsule is a photo album with some pictures from the past 2 years. These photos show our everyday life here in Prodell. It includes students and teachers in classrooms, the lunchrooms, and on school grounds. This album also shows many special events from throughout the years, such as students baking, sports teams, school plays, musical concerts, and the Washington, D.C. trip.
One special item that we included was handwritten letters to the future. Our letters describe a day in the life of a current middle school student, how we spent our free time, and our favorite thing about Prodell. We also included our plans for the future and predictions about 2073. We are optimistic to be here to witness this time capsule being opened in 50 years and to see if our predictions come true. Thank you.
Wow, fantastic work, Prodell Middle School. I know those middle school students in 2070 when they open up are going to say, have we met the benchmark of 2023 with the work that we're doing? So excellent, excellent. I'd now like to invite up high school principal, Mr. Frank Pugliese, and senior Cassandra Keeney. Come on up.
All right, so I'd like to begin by congratulating all of the students from First Miller Avenue, Wading River, Prodell Middle School, and of course our students here at the high school for the tremendous success that they have each and every year. I would be remiss, though, if I did not take a moment to thank everybody up on the stage. This does not happen just out of luck. It happens because we have an incredibly dedicated community that recognizes the importance of education and does everything they can on a daily basis to make sure our students have the best of everything. So this time capsule, yes, it is a reflection of what our students and our staff wanted to put in there, but it is really a reflection of what this community values. And that is education across the boards. It is academics, it is athletics, it is the arts, it is everything. So I would like a big round of applause, please, for our Board of Education and our district office staff, please. It is now my pleasure, because I don't think once was enough, to bring Ms. Cassie Keeney back here to speak about what we did here for the high school.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Cassandra Keeney, and I'm a senior here at Shoreham-Wading River High School, and it is my pleasure to be a part of the ceremony tonight. I hope you enjoyed our performance earlier, and it is now time to reveal our time capsule items. Our school yearbook is, in and of itself, a time capsule for not only our senior year, but also to our time here at SWR. It highlights all that we've accomplished and provides a hint at what may be in store for our futures. Symbols, our art and literary magazine, highlights our talented student artists and writers. The magazine explores the topics of many of our thoughts and dreams. Tonight we also include programs from the SpongeBob musical and Blythe Spirit, two of our major productions from the past year. These programs serve as keepsakes of these amazing performances and memorialize all the students that contributed to their success. We also include a flyer advertising our junior-senior auction, which symbolizes how we come together within our community to raise funds for special events. 3 research science posters represent our high levels of academic achievement. We also enter a class of 2023 senior t-shirt, jersey, and graduation sash to help us celebrate our graduation ceremony each year. Next, we enter 2 examples of SWR bracelets, indicative of what our students have worn throughout the year. Our next 3 items recall our recent past, a challenge coin from the class of 2018, a commemorative pin from 2019 recognizing our blue ribbon school status, and a mask from the class of 2020. Finally, we include an SWR ball cap and a sideline pass from the 2023 Girls Soccer State Championships to represent all our amazing athletic achievements. We hope that in 50 years, those unlocking this time capsule will appreciate all of these items and that our school and district continue to be what they are today, an amazing place for all of our students.
I am absolutely sure that they're going to appreciate what you put in that time capsule when they opened up here in the high school in 2073. Thank you very much. And thank you to all of our principals and all of our students that participated across the district in filling up the time capsules for each building. So we're getting very close to unveiling the time capsule. As part of the construction of the time capsule, we held a district-wide poetry contest for a student to have their work engraved on the capsule. I want to thank our Director of Humanities, Ms. Nicole Wallbauer, who's here tonight, who took the lead on that project. All the poems submitted from all the students in the district were outstanding. In fact, all of the finalists that are here tonight that made it to this final stage, all of their poems will be going into the time capsule. The poem selected to be featured, which is already engraved on wood on the top of the time capsule, is called Wildcats, and it is by Adeline Capesser. Congratulations, Adeline. Your poem is engraved on the top of that box. Adeline is a 6th grader at Prodell. I'd like to invite up Adeline and all of the poets that are here tonight onto the stage, along with Ms. Wallbauer, to read their poems for us. They're 5-line poems. So come on up, and congratulations to all these students: Lana Grafer, Jackson Hepburn, Sage Giovinco, Liliana Rappa, Alexa Uhas, Blake Elise Mast, Melania Bonventry, Adeline Capesser, Aaliyah Diaz, Gabriella Smith, Emily Ingracia, Leighton Mangiamelli, Maggie Anderson, and Hannah Saget. Great work. The poems are amazing. Please come on up so we can all enjoy them.
All right, congratulations to all of our amazing poets up here. Very exciting. Also, congratulations to all of the amazing talent that's in this room tonight. The community, just such a spirit and such well-rounded, amazing people. So here are some of them and some of our future. I want to give a shout out to probably one of our youngest Wildcats out there, Jameson, 3 months old. He is here tonight with us.
Wow.
Yay, Jameson. Is that Blake's? That's your brother, Blake? Yep. Okay. All right. So first we have Lana Grafer to read her poem. Is Lana here? And she's coming up with Mom. Excellent. I have your poem for you, Lana. Is this set up for them? Okay. Hi. How are you? Come on. And she made some beautiful artwork along with her poem.
I like friends. I like Miller Avenue. I like teachers. I like school.
And here's a little certificate for you, Lana. Congratulations. Great job. Oh, and Mr. Poole has an excellent SWR 50 hat for you. Very good. Yay. All right. Next up, we have 1st grade Jackson. Is Jackson here tonight? Hello, Jackson. Also some wonderful artwork. Jackson, come on over here. There you go.
We have 180 days of school. There's lots of awesome rules. Our school colors are yellow and blue. Reading, coloring, and math are things we love to do. Being a Wildcat is really, really cool.
Yay.
Congratulations, Jackson. Here's your hat, bud, and here's your certificate. You're welcome. All right. Next up, we have Sage Giovinco. Sage, come on up. Also, some nice artwork. I told you we do it all here. Art, music, letters, wonderful poets. There you go.
Rhyme. Wildcats are the best. Teamwork here will never rest. Come with us and you will see other great discoveries. So proud of this 50th anniversary.
Congratulations, Sage. Great job. Here's your hat, and here is your certificate. You're welcome. Okay, next up we have Liliana Rappa. Liliana, are you here this evening? Okay, so Liliana, we will save her certificate for her. Congratulations to Liliana. Next up we have Alexa Yuhas. Alexa? Hello, Alexa. Would you like to carry that yourself? More beautiful artwork.
Minds filled with learning, growing trust in each other, friends by your side, racing across fields of learning, Wading River School.
Congratulations, Alexa. You're welcome. There's your certificate. Congratulations. And next up we have Blake. Alessi Mast. And here's your poem. There you go.
We are Wildcat, we are strong, we can do anything, so come along. We are smart, athletic, and kind. We support each other and leave no one behind. We are Wildcat 50 years strong, never give up.
Congratulations, Blake. Great job. Here's your certificate. I think we're going to take this up a little bit. They're taking their... But that's okay. But I'm going to move this up a little bit as we get a little older. Okay, here we go. All right, next up we have Melania Bonventure. There you go, Melania. You're welcome.
SWR Pride. In my heart, I hold Wildcat pride. We come together side by side. A strong community with kindness and friendly faces. With so many fun and cool places. With so many years to come, SWR will never be done.
Congratulations, Melania. Great job. You're welcome. Okay, next up we have Adeline Kapesser. Adeline was also our winner for the whole district. So congratulations again to Adeline. And here is your poem.
Wildcat memories over the last 50 years are full of learning, laughter, love, and even some tears. The difficulties and the obstacles, they were there too, but that didn't stop us from persevering through and through. 50 years has been such a journey, one of growth, positive change, and the love of learning. Here's to another 50 years of more friendships to be made and memories that will never fade. We'll grow stronger and braver every day because Wildcats are here to stay.
Yeah. Congratulations, Adeline. And here's your certificate. And next up, we have Aaliyah Diaz. Is Aaliyah here tonight? Okay, we'll hold on to Aaliyah's certificate. And next up, we have Gabriella Smith. Congratulations, Gabriella. Would you like me to move the stand up for you a little bit? Okay.
The opportunities of blue and gold, the community and character we hold, and the people we are to become, I will always remain a Wildcat for all the years to come.
Congratulations, Gabriella. Thank you. And next up, we have Emily Ingracia. Congratulations. Sure.
School, a place of hope to shed a light for those in dark that learn to fight, a place people can call home.
Congratulations, Emily. You're welcome. Next up, we have Leighton Mangiamelli. Leighton. Hello.
In Shoreham-Wading River's halls, stories weave. 50 years of learning, hearts believe. Through time's embrace, our legacy stands tall. A vibrant tapestry, memories enthrall. With each year's passing, greatness we achieve.
Congratulations, very nice, lady. Well, looks great. Next up, we have Maggie Anderson.
For 50 years we've persevered, the Wildcat roar is our cheer. Blue ribbons fly, showcasing our pride. On every field, on every stage, in every class, at every age. With trusted teachers and staff by our side, through collaboration we're unified. Integrity is our responsibility, curiosity our guide. Elementary, middle, and high schoolers, measuring growth on many rulers. Together we bridge future and past, striving for success that lasts.
Very nice, Maggie. Congratulations. And finally, we have Hannah Saget. You're welcome.
Gold is for the dawn which welcomes me in the morning, warm and bright. Blue is for the dusk waving goodbye in my exit. From one until the other, I am housed between these walls. My friends, my family, my entire community surrounds me. Something bigger than myself, something I'll never be without as long as the sun keeps rising.
Excellent. Congratulations, Hannah. And I just wanted to thank the English teachers in grades 6 through 12 and the amazing elementary school teachers in kindergarten through 5th grade for encouraging the students to participate. To the judges, the principals, the 50th anniversary committee who helped us judge the #1. Thank you, board and Mr. Poole.
Thank you, Ms. Walbauer. Thank you. And thank you to our students that submitted the poems and to the students that came out tonight and shared and read their poems. I think as much as anything else going to that time capsule, the voice that came through from those poems will give the students and staff of 2073 a great insight to what was important to our students in 2023. So let's give them all a round of applause again. Thank you, students. So it is time to unveil the time capsule. I do want to say that this incredible time capsule was built by our talented high school woodworking students in our class of, in the World of Technology class. And the entire class list is on here. They have their names on the bottom of the time capsule. And in the history of building and technology here in Shoreham-Wading River, I'd like to invite up Mr. Segerson and students. I know Chase Baroli is here, Daniel Brewer, Emily Miltz, and Patrick Moran. If you can come up and join me up on the stage. So this was constructed entirely in the high school technology class. Every part of it, the engravings and all of that put together by students under leadership of Mr. Segerson. Mr. Segerson, thank you very much for leading the students. Students and Mr. Segerson, if you could come to the capsule and reveal the time capsule to the crowd. 3, 2, 1. I'm sorry, the board, I'm going to, can you turn around and show the board? Can you guys lift it and kind of turn it and face the board for a moment?
Wow. How cool. Very nice.
Great job.
Come on, let's go.
Thank you. Oh, you forgot your water, Maya.
That counts.
Yeah, that's funny.
Oh, wow, right on top of it.
All right, my friends, come with me.
No, it's okay, it's already pouring. Don't start. Don't start. Don't start. I want you to know something. You're gonna miss me when I'm gone. I assure you of that. Who's gonna be gone first? Me. You want me to wait? What do you want to lose? Huh? Steak dinner. Win? Steak dinner. Steak dinner. You got it. Okay. I control more than you do. No, you don't. Who's gone first? Hand in hand. I'm gone. I assure you. There's no doubt. And I want you to know, I've never been to Ruth Chris Steakhouse. Jerry tells me it is. I don't know where to go. I'm a JR's. Especially when you're paying, I'll take it someplace better. No, you missed it. I'm going first, and you're paying. You got it backwards. I heard that. I'll likely, I will definitely pay up.
I know. Oh, why, you need the key to lock it? No, I don't know, but it's locked.
We'll talk for hours. I'm sure there's a lot we can talk about.
I agree.
I agree. And I'm gonna move
You
her.
turn the key to lock it,
right?
That's why I was thinking. That's why I wasn't kidding. I'm like,
It's okay.
Sorry, Tom. No, it's fine. Okay, so next up, we have our reports and reviews with Mr. Poole covering the Legislative Committee update. Thank you, Mr. Poole.
Oh, my pleasure. I want to thank the committee members for the Board Legislative Advisory Committee. They met a number of times in the fall and digested a lot of material about what are the areas for the school district to advocate for. And the advocacy areas that they came up with are thoughtful, support school district priorities, are good for students and good for the Shoreham-Wading River community. I do know that in the next couple of weeks, the Legislative Committee will be meeting with our local legislators to share and talk a little bit more in depth about these priorities for the school district, and hopefully over time make some change that benefits all of us here in Shoreham-Wading River. So there are three major legislative priority areas. The first area is always on our legislative priorities, which is really for our legislators to take care of our fiscal health. There are three items that the committee came up with to advocate for. The first one is expand the unrestricted reserve fund allowance. Right now, that is capped at 4%. No other government agencies other than schools inside of New York State have their unrestricted reserve funds capped at 4%. In fact, most states for school districts have that unrestricted fund allowance at 8% or higher. We are asking that the 4% be raised to 8%. That's critically important as we face a period of uncertainty in state aid. We already are aware of cuts that were proposed by the governor for the budget. Increasing that will make us less reliant on state aid and the tax cap in the event of a really severe circumstance that we need to close budget gaps. So advocating to increase that from 4%. That says, that's definitely a typo on there. Anybody looking at the last line? The last line says the 4% tax cap should be increased to 8%. That is absolutely not correct.
Right.
It is the 4% cap should be increased to 8%. We'll definitely correct that before we meet with our legislators, the last line on that paragraph. The next one is create additional reserves for health insurance and special education. That falls along the line of protecting the future. Should we have the fortune to have surplus funds at the end of the school year, being able to put money into those specific reserves would help the district fund any spikes in costs related to health insurance and special education. Again, that would not require additional state aid down the road or increased taxes. That allows us to save in the event of an emergency in the future. And finally, fully commit to fully funding our foundation aid for our schools. The district was just made whole last year on foundation aid. We just last year got the full foundation formula amount for the first time, and that gap was closed over the last 2 or 3 years. Prior to that, we had minuscule incremental increases in state aid, and a few years prior to that, in the early 2010s, the district, along with other districts in New York State, suffered something called the gap elimination adjustment, in which this district lost $3 million over 6 years in foundation aid, never to be recovered. We are asking our legislators that if we are moving forward with foundation aid, adopting a budget, or anything else related to foundation aid, that budget gaps in New York State are not closed on the backs of the Shoreham-Wading River students in order to make their budgets work. So that is an important advocacy area. Related to fiscal needs and cost as well is satisfying the state's obligation to provide relief from costly mandates. Most mandates are helpful, beneficial, they aren't bad things, but mandates cost money, and the mandates never come with any funding from New York State. So the state should go back, look at their existing mandates, finance those mandates. The COVID-19 mandate that requires school districts to not use the accrued contractual days. In the future, that mandate is going to cost the district in future years in excess of $400,000. I do believe that was in the budget proposal from the governor, so I'm optimistic that that is going to get through. And then finally, and we'll have to come back to this topic as a school district to really talk a little further about it as we think about electric buses and the law for switching over to electric buses into the future. The deadline for purchasing buses in 2027 and the 2035 deadline for the entire school fleets to be electrified. The committee did not question whether or not that's helpful for the environment along the way. It's really the ability for that to happen by 2035 and who's paying for that along the way. A quick calculation, speaking with Mr. Arcuri last week, that could be $1 million bump in our transportation line in the very near future. So again, it's not about whether green energy is the way to go in protecting our climate. It's really about the funding for it, and is it feasible for all of us to do. So asking our legislators to reconsider that and make sure that it is possible and make sure the funding's in place for us to do the switch over to electric buses. Supporting school safety, those prices and costs have gone up and up related to not just school security and safety, but cybersecurity. There really is no additional funding for that. All of that has to be absorbed into our general budget program, and that has increased yearly. It would be very helpful to our district and school districts where the state to allocate dedicated funding for school safety. There are limited resources in communities to fund those ever-increasing priorities, so a school aid line for school security would be very helpful. And then, if not, excuse certain safety expenses from tax cap calculations. Safety and security just can't be on the chopping block for families and students here and staff in the school district. Has to be something we maintain, and when we face uncertainty in fiscal times, that there would be great to have a mechanism to allow us to continue to fund those important safety and security expenses. So I want to commend the legislative committee. They did a lot of work at our very last meeting. There's a lot of wordsmithing that we had to do to get to a final document, and clearly we have one other word to smith out of the bolster our fiscal health. We will get that done, and next steps are to take this to, as I mentioned, to our legislators and do some advocacy with them face to face. So again, thank you to the committee, and happy to take any questions. I know a couple trustees here are active members on the legislative committee.
No, I just want to thank the committee, Jerry, right? We, in our meetings, discussed what the priorities should be, and I'm glad we came up with these as our, really as our priorities, right, to address, and looking forward to the upcoming meetings with our legislators. Nothing really to add. I think they're solid.
Yeah. We'll give an update once we talk to our legislators to the board and
Yes.
see how those meetings went.
Sounds good.
I just wanted to echo what Mr. Sheridan said and commend our students. We've had a larger number of students serve on the committee than ever before this particular year. And certainly these 3 pillars with all of the details that follow really lend itself to requiring like the need of our community to be involved and have our voice. And thank you, Mr. Poole, for always being a conduit, an active communicator to our local legislators.
Well, it's my pleasure, and I would be remiss if I didn't recognize our ex officio student trustees who are all on the legislative committee at the Longwood Legislative Breakfast, which I was unable to attend this year. I know Mr. Arcuri was there. I think 6 of the 7 students attended the Longwood Legislative Breakfast, were active listeners and participants there, so congratulations to them, and I think they get a lot out of that process as well. So thank you, more to come. I'm not sure when the adopted budget is going to be here in New York State and what's going to be included, but we'll be advocating for Shoreham-Wading River in the upcoming weeks and month or so to see if we can't do all we can to get what we need.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Poole. Next up under reports and reviews, Ms. Stephanie Mahoney will read a memo, use of prior year's state aid. Ms. Mahoney.
I'm just going to read a memo on behalf of Barbara C. Cullen, who is the Audit Committee Chairperson, regarding use of prior year state aid toward the 24-25 budget. As Chairperson of the Shoreham-Wading River Central School District's Audit Committee, I wish to advise you as follows. At the February 13, 2024 Audit Committee meeting, the members determined that the planned use of up to $1,676,920.66 of prior year's state aid toward the 2024-2025 budget is acceptable. This use is in conformance with Chapter 340 of the New York laws of 2007. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mahoney. Next up under reports and reviews, we have our 2024-2024 budget presentation by Mr. Glenn Arcuri. Mr. Arcuri. It's that time of year.
They're all gone.
Yeah.
I'm starting to get a complex. I just want you to know.
We'll have cookies next time. Maybe we'll offer cookies to sit and.
But no, thank you for the opportunity. Again, the 2024-2025 budget again was a long journey to get here tonight. There was a lot of work done by all of the district staff. There isn't a single person that does not play some sort of role inside the budget development process. The building principals speak to everyone in their building. Department heads speak to their staff, facilities administrators speak, technology, and it all rolls up to the cabinet level. They come, present their budget needs, compare it to their current spending plan for the current year, and basically justify why they actually need the funding. So it's a very thorough process. Mr. Poole attends all of the budget development meetings. He asks questions pertaining to how do you see this benefiting 5 years out, 7 years out. Once that is designed, a staffing plan supporting that also comes to light. What type of program do we want to deliver for 2024-2025? That drives the entire budget. Staffing is our budget. Anything else besides staffing really falls to the side. You're going to see tonight we're going to cover salaries and employee benefits. Okay. And after tonight, we'll be about 75-76% through through the entire budget.
Okay.
To just start off, you could see just by the pictures, we have a very rich program. There are many different in-school experiences as well as off-school ground experiences. The proposed budget aligns directly with the district's mission and vision statement. Our values statement: collaboration, curiosity, integrity, responsibility, pride, perseverance. Each of these 6 items in one form or another is actually taught, displayed, shown, achieved by the funding that is included inside of the 24-25 budget. World-class opportunities. You can see it is a very rich program, a K-12 program that rises well above the New York State requirements in order to fully prepare students for a healthy, happy, and successful lives. A number of years ago, we actually coined this the SWR standard. We go above what the state mandates because it is good for kids. Whether it's a project adventure piece that is at the high school, whether it's the robotics program, whether it's the dual middle school sports teams, each of these opportunities is separate and distinct to Shoreham-Wading River program. Whether it's an extensive secondary extra help program, whether it's a middle school greenhouse program, funding is included inside of the budget in order to provide these world-class opportunities for our students. Diverse and engaging course offerings for all students. Again, the high school curriculum, the middle school curriculum goes above the state minimum. Whenever I keep saying above the state minimum, that is equivalent with there is additional cost in order to provide these types of opportunities here. So we cannot forget that what we accept as a given does come with a dollar associated with it. So every year when we are preparing the budget, costs continue to rise, revenues continue to get pinched. The reason why? It's just how the system works. Revenues never keep up with the rise of expenditures. So as a district, we don't ever want to reduce the program, minimize the program. So we always want to show community, show the Board of Education, all the richness that is inside of our district, part of our program, so that when people say, you're spending X millions of dollars, what do we really get for it? We get all of these items. We get a lot of choice when it comes to our course offerings here. Outstanding achievements. So we could offer courses, we could provide opportunities. Are students going to take advantage of it? You could clearly see by the list of achievements here, many students are benefiting from it. Look at the 4 musicians that were here this evening. Look at the poets. You could just see from the technology class, there's so much achievement in so many different areas. That's what the budget dollars buy. We have a extensive fine arts program. Scamia Strong. Congratulations to our 108 students who were selected for participation in 3 divisions of our Suffolk County Music Educators Honors Ensembles. We cannot forget that our program goes above and beyond. So again, I continue to try to build this connection between a deep, rich, extensive program requires budgeted dollars. Athletic excellence. We have I believe all of our teams in 22-23 were athlete teams. So coupled with not just great athletes, they're also scholars too. How does that come? We need to continue to have funding in order to provide rich, constant programs that provide students opportunities. Student outcomes, class of 23 rate and diploma type, overall graduation rate was 99.5%. Regents diplomas, a little less than 28%. Regents diplomas with advanced designations, 72%. Regents diplomas with advanced designation with honors, almost 22%. Regents with career technical education endorsement, 12%. These are very strong student outcomes. So provide the opportunity, provide great staff, you get great outcomes. There's we do our piece here, the parents and guardians do their piece home. Students eventually come together in order to create a great outcome. The tax levy history the last 7 years, 2012, the state imposed the tax levy limit cap. What that was is, in order to raise taxes, there now is a formula the district must comply with. We could no longer create a dollar value and ask the taxpayers to consider supporting it. In order to be tax levy limit compliant, we have to adhere to their formula. If we don't want to, we then need to pierce, requiring a 60% plus one vote in order to pass the tax levy. Our tax levy history has grown by $681,481 over the past seven years. That is a great number. You see, we have been below the cap for $304,000. So I'm certain everybody here knows, over the last 7 years, each particular year, the costs have increased greater than $681,000. So we've continued to find ways to do more with less dollars while strengthening the existing program as well as adding additional programs. Tax levy history the last 7 years, it's a 1.3% average over 7 years. Everybody knows right at their grocery store, everything over the past 7 years has increased a lot greater than 1.3%. So I'm going to continue to try to dwell on the fact that revenues continue to be pressured, expenditures continue to rise. We need to continue to fill that gap through economies and efficiencies. Budget history the last 7 years, 2.24% increase. So I was 1.3% on the tax levy side. I'm 2.24% on the expenditure side. Community support, as I mentioned earlier, 3 different parts: the staff, the students, community. Community has consistently given us strong budget support. So that's a vote of confidence, I feel. In 2020, we were at 73%, and we've been as high as 79% in 2022. Any questions on the history? Pertaining to district reserve balances, before we get into the 24-25 budget, I think it's always important to point out what is in the district's quote savings accounts. So at the end of the school year for 2022-23, the district reserve balances: employee retirement system, a little more than $4 million; teachers retirement system, a little less than $1.6 million; workers' compensation, $1,938,000; unemployment, $1,169,000. It's important to point out the New York State Comptroller recommends no more than 4 times the annual expenditure in each of these reserves. With regards to the employee retirement system reserve, the annual expenditure value in the 24-25 budget is $1,133,000. So that particular reserve is right at the comptroller's recommended value. The teacher's retirement system, our annual expenditure is $3,100,000. So we have half of a year's worth inside of that reserve. Workers' compensation, our annual expenditure is $554,000. We have $1,938,000. The unemployment reserve, we budget about $104,000. However, the trick with the unemployment reserve is you don't know when you're really going to have the unfortunate circumstance of a mid-year state aid cut, where the district would have to excess staff inside the middle of the year. So having $1 million in there is only the equivalent of 25 staff members getting 52 weeks of benefit. So so when you read in the papers, districts are overfunded inside of their reserves. From a Shoreham-Wading River standpoint, as of June 30th, 2023, our 4 unrestricted reserves are not overfunded. We are at or below the comptroller's recommended values. As far as the tax reduction reserve, we ended the school year $928,000 June 30th, 2023. The money that is in a tax reduction reserve comes from the prior year state aid settlement. So we started to receive those funds in 2011, and slowly over time, we have used those funds primarily for capital improvements. We finished the renovation of the high school art classrooms and the auxiliary gym, and there was prior year state aid funding left that funded that project. So those funds were recently returned to the tax reduction reserve. So as of February 7th, 2024, we have $1,676,921 in this reserve. That's an important reserve to see because we are going to be utilizing prior year state aid as Ms. Mahoney read a short time ago, a letter from the audit committee that utilizing prior year state aid as a revenue source towards the 24-25 budget is an allowable use under that legislative language. It's also important to note for the 24-25 budget, even though I'm jumping ahead for a second, but I want to make a point. There's also a transfer to capital fund budget line included in the 24-25 budget, equal to the value of that prior year state aid amount. So we are not using that funding for recurring expenditures. We're using it for one-time capital expenditures. In addition to the use of prior year state aid, we are applying $1 million in employee retirement system funding. We are applying no teacher retirement system dollars. We are applying $550,000 of workers' compensation reserve, as well as $104,000 in unemployment reserve. As far as restricted district reserves, we have $2,851,664 as of June 30th in the employee benefits accrued liability reserve, and $3,323,000 in the 2021 capital reserve. Anyone have any questions on the district reserve balances?
No, thank you, Glenn.
The tax levy limit, as I mentioned earlier, this is based on a formula provided by the Office of the State Comptroller. For a simple majority vote, 50% plus 1, the district is not proposing to pierce the tax cap. Our allowable tax levy limit with exclusions is 2.5224%. The district is levying to the limit. All anticipated pilot payments have been included. It's important to note that even though we are set to receive these pilot payments, at any point, the pilot payment can change. We have no control over it. So if a pilot payment happens to be reduced, the loss of that funding gets offset by an increase to the taxpayer, something that is out of the district's control. The calculation also includes the following allowable exclusions: all debt service payments, the payment related to the $33 million bond, and the payment for the current energy performance contract. New York State building aid is based on the governor's budget released on January 6, 2024. It's their executive budget. As Mr. Poole mentioned earlier, we are hopeful that the state will have their budget adopted on the April 1st due date in order to get the actual value of what our building aid will be. In addition, our share of BOCES building aid related to capital expenditures and our share of BOCES capital expenditures is also part of the equation. For this school year, we also have a small amount related to the employee retirement exclusion. So for the employee retirement system pension account, if an exclusion is allowable when the annual growth in the average actuarial contribution rate exceeds 2%. So if they are projecting an increase greater than 2%, whatever that amount over the 2% is, the district is allowed to levy for that value. So looking at the formula with some values, the 23-24 tax levy, $57,477,878. Our tax-based growth factor, that is a value provided to us by the New York State Department of Taxation. And it's basically what is the additional brick and mortar building inside of your school district. They come up with that value to allow us to increase our levy by that amount. For us, it's 0.2% or $115,000. Pilot payments total, $3,159,804. BOCES capital, the energy performance contract, bond principal and interest, building aid. Sorry that I jumped, excuse me. So when you factor in your BOCES capital and you factor in your EPC payment, I'm going to back up a little further. When you add in your pilot payments, our allowable tax levy is a little less than 6%. Now, as we begin to take off our prior year exclusions, we are going to reduce it for BOCES capital, energy performance contract, your bond principal payment, your building aid offset for Shoreham. I come down to a little less than 1%. Add back our building aid for Shoreham, I'm back up to 3.65%. The allowable growth factor per the comptroller is no more than 2%, even though our CPI, acknowledged by the New York State Comptroller, is 4%.
Yeah, I saw that.
The levy limit formula prevents us from using that value. We're only allowed to use a 2% increase. Right at this point, our tax levy limit value before any of the exclusions is only 0.1563%.
Mm-hmm.
So even though they're telling us the real world has a 4% increase, before we have any exclusion, we're only at 0.1563%. Now when we factor in our exclusions, which is values that the community agreed because it's a debt service type payment, we add in the BOCES value, brings us to 0.22%, add in an energy performance payment from 2014, we get to 1.34%, add in the bond principal and interest payment, we're up to 6%. Subtract Now the building aid, any building aid the state gives us, whether it's related to BOCES or related to Shoreham-Wading River building, Shoreham-Wading River capital projects, the taxpayer will then able to get their taxes reduced by that value. This year, in the executive budget, our building aid is $1,992,000. That's $220,000 less than the previous year. So since we lost building aid from projects that were done in 2010, the middle school health and safety project, the taxpayer now picks up the burden for that $220,000. The ERS exclusion for Shoreham-Wading River is an additional $7,614. It brings us to a 2.5224% tax levy limit value, or $1,449,826. Does anyone have any questions on how the tax levy limit came up?
I just have a quick question about the pilot payments, and just refresh my memory. The J-Power generator, was that dismantled a few years ago? Is that why it's no longer?
That is actually, bear with me, I'm getting there. One of these buttons will bring me back.
Mike, what was that? Was that the
J-Power was
EPC?
actually, it is still part of it. However, it was cut in half. The value was reduced by 50%. It is still part of the, it is still part of that $3,159,000. They all are just lumped together. We have 5 pilot payments. We have a LIPA payment related to the Brookhaven property. That is the J-Power. We have a LIPA payment related to Riverhead. We have 2 solar farms. And Cross Sound Cable. All of those total the $3,159,000.
I wasn't clear that it was lumped into the LIPA Brookhaven line item. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
And to your point, when they halved it a few years ago, that's the unknown part that can continue to happen with these pilots based on assessed value of the assets there by whoever's.
Correct.
So as these things become older in age and they reassess, that means that these pilots could decrease in reducing our actual benefit.
Absolutely. And there is no mechanism for the district to know in advance. And the way the formula works, any loss of a pilot payment, the burden directly goes to the taxpayer. Directly gets put out there. Proposition 1, we only have a single proposition on the May ballot. It's the 2024-2025 budget. The budget maintains all programs, maintains current class size. As I mentioned earlier, includes a transfer to capital fund budget line, includes the use of prior year state aid as a revenue source, includes additional clubs, includes funding to replace 50 to 60 interactive smart boards, reflects reductions of contingent funds, and does not include funding to cover the shortfall in UPK funding that has been covered by grants in past years. Over the next 4 meetings, we're going to cover each of these bullets more in greater detail, but if anyone has any specific questions, I could answer them now or just continue forward. Some of the budget highlights: we are adding 7 additional elementary school clubs. We are adding 2 additional middle school clubs. The total club value is a little less than $20,000. The club participation is at its maximum now, so we feel it's very beneficial at the elementary level to add additional clubs, which will provide students additional experience after school hours. As I mentioned earlier, we are beginning an interactive smartboard replacement program. There are approximately 120 smartboards across 4 buildings. Most, if not all, are either past their useful life and are experiencing technical difficulties. The plan is to replace 50 to 60 smartboards. Again, depending upon the cost, we're going to try to go out to bid for these as well as obtain pricing off of available contracts. get our best price. Hopefully, Mr. Esposito and his team will work with the district purchasing agent so that hopefully the voters support our budget on May 21st. And May 22nd, a purchase order can be processed. So over this summer, we could have these smart boards installed in place for September. That would be the ideal solution. The following budget year, 25-26, hopefully we could retain this funding, complete the remaining smart board purchase. There are 4 new high school courses: digital literacy, pre-advanced placement world history and geography, writing lab and writing center, and a new elective related to cyber security. There is a few maintenance projects, additional cameras district-wide. That particular project is a large component of our 5-year building condition survey. We have made a commitment as part of our 5-year capital plan to basically align 50% of the district's maintenance budget to clean up items that are on the building condition survey. In addition, we want to install a concrete walkway along the middle school track. That would be the west side of the middle school track. There's funding for additional equipment. We are hoping to expand the Miller Avenue playground by adding 2 pieces of equipment related specifically to the kindergarten age group. We feel it would be a great addition to that play set area there. Additional library furniture for the Wading River Library, innovative classroom furniture for the middle school, additional robotics equipment for the high school, and a Yamaha upright piano for the high school. 24-25 proposed budget reflects a 4% increase, or an increase of $3,389,104. Tonight we're going to discuss employee salaries. That is 71.3% of the total budget. Throughout the remaining budget development meetings, we will cover each of the categories listed. Employee salaries. Salaries for all district staff are included in this category. So the total budgeted dollars for staff is $39,317,598. This is a $1,168,296 change over the previous year, or 3.06% increase. It's 44.59% of the total budget. All salaries are forecast based on contractual obligations outlined within the collective bargaining agreements. We're very, very fortunate for the 24-25 year. We have a contract in place with all of our 3 bargaining units. The agreement with our Teachers Association is set to end June 30th, 2025, but we did have values like I mentioned for 24-25. All contractual salary budgets are developed each year to align with the program plan for the following years. As I mentioned earlier, during the budget development process, we are developing what is a program going to look like, and then we assign staff, assign dollars, assign a budget in order to ensure we have enough funding to deliver the desired program. All non-contractual salary codes have been reviewed and adjusted. Anyone have any questions related to budgeted salaries? Moving on to employee benefits. The teacher's retirement system employee contribution rate is estimated to be 10.02%. This is a rate increase of 2.66. Employees' retirement system, employer's contribution rate is estimated to be 17.9%. Based on the tier, so each employee in the ERS system, depending upon when they join the system, belong to a different tier. Each tier has a different contribution level. For our district, we actually based it on Tier 3 and Tier 4 employees, because that's majority of our employees where they currently are. This reflects a rate increase of 15.48%. So when I mentioned earlier what our average tax levy increase was, just these two components alone exceed greatly by what our percentage is. We anticipate that health plan premiums and Medicare Part B reimbursement will continue to rise. We budgeted for an increase of up to 13% for 2025. All benefit codes were reviewed and projected, either based on historical average or information provided by the district's third-party representative. Employee benefits, so that's health insurance, pension contributions, FICA Medicare contributions, dental, disability, vision. Total budget value is $23,558,109, reflective of a $687,174 increase, or 3%. This budget category represents 26.71% of the total budget. Any questions on employee benefits?
Mr. Curie, the ERS, I forget if it's the TRS or both, those values though are set by actual, set by the state what our contribution rate is, right?
Yes.
So I know you say it's mostly based on Tier 3 and 4, but those are numbers that are given to us in order to, how do I put it, fund the account.
Correct. We are given, that is a very good point. The district is told what the contribution percentage is.
Yeah, which is 15.48.
It's a 15.48% increase over the previous.
Right. You were just talking
over
about
the
the 4%
previous
CPI. This is just an example of kind of what you were talking about.
Correct.
All right.
That's why I continue to say, pension, a district cannot negotiate the pension contribution. So regardless, we have to make that particular payment. However, it's not an exclusion within the tax cap unless if it's actuarially above the 2%.
Yep.
And this time it was 0.2% above, allowing us to levy $7,600 more. So it's a formula that favors the process. I just want to continue to point out, we don't have machines. Machines are our staff. That's where our funding goes.
Just one more question. So
Sure.
the TRS and ERS are identified numbers from the state, but the health plan premiums and Medicare are suggested budgeted based on our district's projections. If those come in lower, then the savings that the district would receive would go to the general fund?
Correct. If something happens to come lower this year for 2024, there were certain components of the district's health insurance plan that came in above 14%, and the main family plan came in at 12.74%. So if it's going to be anything like 2024, we'll be very, very close. But it always is important to note, the budget is the maximum amount the district could actually spend. Anytime we don't spend it, those are considered surplus funds that at the end of the school year, the Board of Education ultimately determines how much do they want to appropriate to the following year's budget. We're going to see that shortly. How much do they want to put into district reserves in order to continue to be fiscally stable? A district's reserve balance, meaning the culmination of all the different reserve accounts, directly relate to the comptroller's fiscal stress score for a local government. If we could quote weather a storm, we are considered not in fiscal stress. So any savings in any budgeted code ultimately wind up either getting appropriated to the following year's budget. If you're appropriating funds to the following year's budget, you are reducing taxes because you aren't asking them for additional money for that particular year. If you're putting it inside of a district reserve account, you are protecting money for the future, so you don't have to ask the taxpayer for it.
Yeah, just to follow up on that, so again, I know I've been here for a while and I understand that process, the budget, the surplus. But is the 13% increase based on what was allocated last year or based on what was actually spent?
13% is that for the health insurance for 24-25 is actually what was actually spent.
Okay.
Now, spent to the point where someone could retire, I then have to pick up that retiree plan. They could retire as family, and then I bring in a replacement as an individual. So there is some projection there, but 85% of that formula is based on actual. The other 15%, there's always the variable is who's going to replace the retiree as of July 1st? Who's going to replace them as of September 1st? So there's always that little bit of variable. Some people change from individual to family. Some people change from family to individual. But the base that you're asking is based on actual. Any other questions? So looking at the budget summary, the expenditure budget, as I mentioned earlier, reflects a 4% increase. The tax levy reflects a 2.5224% increase. State aid reflects a 0.27% increase. Again, the state aid figure here is based on the governor's executive run that they provided us January 16th, 2024.
Mhm.
Other local revenue reflects a 5.75% increase. Majority of that increase pertains to additional interest as well as additional tuition that we plan to receive from taking students in to our special education program. As far as appropriated fund balance, as Mr. Lewis was mentioning before, if there are surplus funds left over in the current year's budget, how much are we going to assign to the following year's budget? So for the 24-25 budget, $4,766,840 from 23-24 that we're anticipating to have surplus is going to be applied to the 24-25 budget. This is a little less than the previous year. We continue to try to reduce our reliance on surplus funds from the previous year because we know each and every year our surplus funds are going to continue to get a little bit less as we continue to fill the gap between actual revenues versus actual expenditures. As I mentioned earlier, we plan on using $1 million of the employee retirement system reserve. We don't plan on using anything from the teachers' retirement system, $104,000 of the unemployment reserve, $550,000 of the workers' compensation reserve. It's important to point out employee retirement system, unemployment, workers' compensation. Even though we're planning to use those values for those reserve accounts, if we only spend $980,000 of employee retirement system in 24-25, the difference between the 980 and the 1 million, that 20,000, must go back to the reserve account. It doesn't turn into surplus funds. Same thing for unemployment, same thing for workers' compensation. So you're only allowed to use the amount of the reserve that matches the actual expenditure value. So right now, for the $104,000 for unemployment, if we don't have any unemployment claims in 24-25, the $104,000 will automatically go back to the unemployment reserve as of June 30th, 2025. For the 24-25 school year, we actually have a new revenue source, the debt service fund. A little complicated. I'm going to do my best to explain to you the debt service fund. When the district issued bonds, the district received bond dollars. Between the time of spending those bond dollars, the district accumulated interest. That interest money on that bond, dollars, went into what's called a debt service fund. In addition, at the time of issuance, the purchaser of the bond paid us a premium. The premium they paid us went into a debt service fund. So any money that you actually make from the issuance of bond, be it a premium or be it interest, must go into a separate governmental fund called a debt service fund. Now, the district had a choice. They could have began using that debt service fund. The first year the bond payment was inside of the budget. So it's a little less than $600,000. We have 8 years left on our bond. We chose to hold that money on the debt service fund until we needed to add that additional revenue to our revenue budget. So we think it's a prudent time now to begin to use 1/8 for each of the remaining years of that debt service fund as part of our revenue budget. Any questions on a debt service fund? So this is a balanced budget. We show you the various sources of revenue, and I think it's a great budget. I truly do. It was a challenging budget. It's one of the more challenging ones. As I'm sure you've seen inside the local papers, a lot of districts suffered large state aid losses. We were very, very fortunate that even with our loss in building aid of $220,000, we were still able to come out with an additional $45,000. So we're still, for 24-25, in a good, I feel, in a very good, strong position to offer a rich budget as well as a balanced budget from a revenue standpoint. Important budget development dates. Tonight we covered employee salaries and employee benefits. At the March 12th meeting, we'll be covering transportation, debt and transfers, district-wide expenses, and special education. On the district website, under Parent Guardian Resources, tomorrow morning, Ms. Opatowski will work with our PR firm to have a title added there for 2024-2025 budget information. All of our budget material will be available on the district website. Any other questions? Great, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Curie. Okay. Next up, we've got our votes and resolutions. First is our approval of our February 6, 2024 regular public meeting minutes. May I get a motion? Katie, second. Henry, any discussion or questions? All in favor? 6-0. Next is our approval of our January 2024 Treasurer's Report. May I get a motion? Megan, second. Jim, any discussion or questions? Okay to vote? All in favor? 6-0. Next is our approval of our CPSE, CSE, and 504 meeting summary memo dated February 14, 2024. May I get a motion? Katie, second. Jim, discussion or questions? Okay to vote? All in favor? 6-0. Next up, I've got two Board of Education resolutions. Numbers 2324-137 and 2324-138. I'd like to take them as a block. May I get a motion? Henry, second. Katie, any discussion or questions? All in favor? 6-0. Jim, I'm glad you're going to the annual convention. Look forward to you and Mike giving us some updates on how it goes. Yeah, National Convention. Thanks for going.
And Katie.
What?
I'm actually not going to go.
not going.
Stephanie was able to replace the all of the fees and such with your registration, flights, reimbursement, and stuff. So, yeah.
Thank you for attending and on behalf
I'm
of
not
the
going
district.
either. I'm out.
What's that?
I have a new job that I started after having registered, so
All good.
unfortunately I can't.
No issue, Katie. No issue. Thanks. I appreciate you going, Jim. Next up is our business and operation resolutions. I've got 5 of them. Okay to take as a block? Okay. So it starts with 2324-139, and goes to 2324-143. May I get a motion? First Jim, second Katie. Any discussion or questions? Okay to vote? All in favor? 6-0. Next up, I've got personnel. May I get a motion for tonight's personnel agenda? First Henry, second Katie. Any discussion or questions? All in favor? 6-0. Do we have any communications, Ms. Mahoney, tonight? Okay, very good. Any other discussion from the board? This was a great meeting. I just want to tell you, Mr. Poole, thanks again for putting together. I think we all were given quite an opportunity tonight to see our children, our students, right, perform and give us updates.
It was a lot of fun. A lot of kudos to our staff and students for putting together just some amazing presentations. So happy to do it. A lot of fun.
Absolutely, and great that we have the time capsule to celebrate, and hope for those students in 2073 to see what we've left behind and discover what school is like in the present day. And maybe, Mr. Arcuri, we could put a budget presentation in the to show.
We had such a great turnout.
We had
We would love to see it.
It's a presentation for the ages. That's what I would say.
Idea. We should
I think you should. I thought about that. As tonight went on, I thought more. I said, this is really an artifact, and we need to definitely celebrate and put in the. Well, thanks again for producing that and providing it, and thanks again for attending. And that's it. May I get a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting? Katie, second Henry. All in favor? 6-0. Good night, everyone. Thank you.